This video is brought to you by SpikesAcademy.com, the world's first Magic the Gathering e-learning academy. You can get 10% off over at SpikesAcademy.com with the code GOLDFISH, and you can learn more at Spikes_Academy on Twitter. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Fishbowl Thursday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and we have a spicy and pretty funny modern list to look at today. This is a Ponza deck, but very not traditional. This is mono blue Ponza for modern, and it comes to us from Marin Moon. So thank you so much to Marin Moon for sending in a super cool deck. And if you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, leave me that link in the comments, or you can email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. So let's talk mono blue Ponza for modern. So the plan of mono blue Ponza, like any Ponza deck, is essentially to disrupt the opponent's lands, except since we're playing mono blue, we don't get to just blow up lands very often. That's not a blue thing. However, in some weird way, blue actually has a whole bunch of sinkholes in modern, in Boomerang and Eye of Nowhere. So Boomerang and Eye of Nowhere each can return for 2 mana any target permanent to its owner's hand. So this isn't non-land permanent. This can bounce a land. So in theory, on turn 2, or maybe even turn 1 if we get a really lucky draw, we can just bounce our opponent's land. And if we can keep doing this turn after turn after turn, it's going to be really hard for our opponent to ever develop their mana base, because they play their land, we bounce it, we keep making our land drops, developing our resources, and then we keep bouncing our opponent's lands, keeping them on 1 mana, 2 mana, making it really hard for some decks to play Magic. So that's step 1 of the deck. Boomerang, in this deck, our sinkhole essentially. Then we have Cryptic Command, which, yes, it's a counter spell. Yes, it draws us a card. It can be a fog, but it can also be a 4 mana boomerang, bouncing one of our opponent's lands back to their hand. So in theory with this deck, we can turn 2, or maybe even turn 1, boomerang, turn 3, boomerang, turn 4, Cryptic Command, and our opponent's going to be going into like their 4th or 5th turn with 1 land on the battlefield, making it really hard for them to play Magic. Plus, we can always get other value out of Cryptic as well, countering things, bouncing things, drawing cards, etc, etc, etc. Then we have one of our weirder land destruction spells, Shadow of a Doubt. So this is another strip mine, 2 mana land destruction, except it also draws us a card, but it comes with a really big drawback. It only destroys fetch lands. It makes it so players can't search their library. So all we want to do is wait till our opponent goes to crack a fetch, then we Shadow of Doubt. They can't search for the land that they would find with their fetch land, so they're essentially -1 land. Essentially a sinkhole for just 2 mana. Plus it cycles, which is some nice extra value. So this is our main land destruction. Then we have Snapcaster Mage, and we're just looking at all these instant and sorcery sinkholes in our deck. Well, Snapcaster Mage is our way to recast them, just letting us reuse whatever of our land bouncing sinkhole spells that we want to in any situation, also our counter spells and other spells, and it works really well with our counters. Remand joining Cryptic Command as cycling counter spells, and Remand doesn't really stop a spell because it just goes back to our opponent's hand, but when you consider that our opponent's not going to have many lands in play, it's kind of be a time walk more often than not in this deck, because our opponent's not going to have the mana to recast their spell because we're bouncing all of their lands. Then we have Spreading Seas, which isn't really a sinkhole because the land stays on the battlefield, but it can help color screw our opponent, and it cycles, draws us a card when it enters the battlefield. But if our opponent's not playing blue, turning one of their colored sources into an island can be kind of similar to destroying a land. And then we have our finishers, which are also kind of land destruction spells. Tamiyo the Moon Sage, Frost Titan. In theme with our deck, they can't destroy a land. However, they can both tap a permanent, Frost Titan when it enters the battlefield or attacks, Tamiyo with her +1. So this takes another land out of the equation. It taps it, and it doesn't untap during the next untap step. So our opponent's essentially down 1 land, and both of these cards can close out the game. Frost Titan being a huge, hard to kill attacker, especially hard to kill if our opponent doesn't have mana to pay the extra 2. And Tamiyo, if we ever get up to that ultimate, we're able to just kind of go infinite with our land bouncing, because whenever a card we go into our graveyard, it goes back to our hand. So that means by the time we're there, we're probably going to have 6 mana, 8 mana, and we can just boomerang or Eye of Nowhere literally all of our opponent's stuff and make them not able to do anything forever. Trinisphere is a sweet lock piece in this deck. If our opponent doesn't have at least 3 lands, they're not going to be able to cast any spells if we have a Trinisphere out, and we don't really care. Yes, our 2 mana stuff is going to cost 1 more, but that's not a big hindrance, and if we can keep boomeranging, we're just going to hard lock our opponent out of the game for a while. As far as Jace the Mind Sculptor, it's another backup finisher. More importantly, it's card advantage. The biggest risk of Mono Blue Ponza is we're going to run out of cards. We boomerang, our opponent isn't technically down a card. Yes, we're slowing them down, but they're getting the card back in their hand. So in some sense, we're kind of 2-for-1ing ourselves, but Jace makes sure we don't run out of action. We can spend all of our boomerangs and Eye of Nowheres to bounce our opponent's lands, play a Jace, brainstorm, refuel on more boomerangs, and keep the plan going. Then we have our mana base, which is pretty simple. Encroaching Waste, more land destruction. Gemstone Cavern speeds things up. This is how, if we're on the draw, we can potentially boomerang or Eye of Nowhere on turn 1, Gemstone Caverns before the game starts, and then play an island, start our land bouncing plan, a bunch of basic islands. In the sideboard, Leyline of the Void to deal with graveyard decks, a bunch of creature removal. Engulf the Shore bounces all of our opponent's stuff, hopefully. Dismember just to kill something. Pithing Needle to get rid of Planeswalkers, other activated ability things, and then a couple more weird land destruction spells, with Squelch being another Shadow of Doubt, essentially good at countering fetch land activations and drawing a card, and another Shadow of the Doubt. And that is Mono Blue Ponza for Modern. And that's been our instant deck for today. So again, thanks to Marin Moon for sending in such a cool deck. And one more time, if you want your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, leave me that link in the comments or email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.